experience in the industry this morning, and we can't wait to have him. But before I hand over the mic to Tobi Samuel, I just want to acknowledge the presence of one of my fathers also in the industry. He was my lecturer in school, and presently he is the head of department of mass communication department in Lagos State University of Science and Technology, in person of Dr. Steve Adishimule. He's presently with us this morning. He said he wants to be mentored as well, and I believe it's a good thing as well for us to have this. He will call it the town and gown engagement. I believe it's a good thing because it gives the students the opportunity as well to see the practical sides of what they learn in the classroom. And like I made reference to the Creativity Week. I think the Creativity Week is now called the Picture Festival, Tobi, if I'm not mistaken. The Picture Festival in 2019 was, like I said, what inspired me to go into this field, because all through my time in school, we only learned the theoretical aspect of things. We barely got the chance to see how we could put some of those theories into practice. But this morning, Tobi will be sharing with us some of the things that are obtainable in the industry. And I believe that some of us from these sessions, from the next 4 sessions that we're having today and the coming 3 weeks, you would get a better idea of where you can fit into in the creative industry. So this morning, before I call on Tobi, let me just ask a quick question, which will require our answer. I'll advise everybody to just put their answers in the chat section. So the question I have for you this morning, and this is actually going to be part of your task. So our head of admin yesterday, Ugochi, posted in the group that we are going to be having a task during this mentorship program. We'll be grouping you all into a group of 5, and you have to work on a campaign. We'll share that brief later today. But you work on the campaign based on all of the knowledge that you garner from all of the 4 classes. However, before we go into that, let me just ask this quick question. If you had unlimited resources to change one thing in Africa, and the only way to make people care about it was to tell them a story, what problem would you solve? And what would be the opening line of your story? If you had unlimited resources to change just one thing in Africa, and the only way to make people care about it was to tell them a story, what problem would you solve? And what would be the opening line of your story? Let's just answer the question, what problem would you solve? If you had unlimited resources, that if you have the money to solve just one problem in Africa, and the only way to make people care about it was to tell them a story, what's the problem you'll be solving? Let's drop our answers in the chat section, please. Food insecurity, okay? I believe Ngozi is a manager at one of the major eateries. Yes, she is. So I'm not surprised that she said food insecurity. Water, okay, Clinton. Information, bad governance, hunger. If I had unlimited resources to change one thing in Africa, the problem I would solve is unemployment. Okay. All right. That's from Chiombu. Unemployment, national identity, inferiority to whites, malnutrition, education. Okay, so the reason why I asked this question was so one of our goals, in fact, our major goal at the Cockpit Media is to tell stories that drive change. Okay, Dr. Steve says drug abuse. Interesting. So one of our major goal at the Cockpit Media is to tell stories that drive change. And in fact, one of our mantra is storytelling for change. And this is why this particular session is very, very special to us. we are not just a creative agency. We want to tell stories that appeal to the emotions of people and drives them to take action for change. There is, I think, Thomas Costa wrote a book titled Good Advertising. Advertising can be used for good, marketing can be used for good, PR can be used for good. And that's basically what our speaker this morning will be emphasizing on. And like I said, that's why this session is very, very special to us. And this morning, I believe we'll be learning how to use our storytelling skills to drive change, to drive action, to make people make decisions that will make our world a better place. So this morning, let's make welcome Mr. Tobi Samuel Popoola as he shares with us in the next 90 minutes. All right, Tobi, you can take over from there.
Hi, hi. I mean,
Hello,
it's
Tobi.
really, really, really exciting. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, okay, great, great, great. It's really exciting to be here to do this with you. And yeah, without further ado, I guess I'll just get started. But before that, I want everyone to get into the chat and just tell me what's the one thing you want to take out of this session today. I mean, you're seeing the flyers, you've seen what I can do. You've seen who I am. You've seen what I do, basically. And you've seen what we're here to talk about, the business of storytelling. But then, to you personally, what do you think you want to take out of this session today? So, yeah, get to the chat while I get this set. Come on, waiting for you guys. Okay, you want to take home a lesson on how to write compelling stories. To see storytelling from a new perspective. All right, all right, all right. Okay, cool, 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 cool. Just let me know if you can see my screen. I just want to be sure.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Very well, very well. You guys have really, really interesting takes. You want to know how to drive changes in storytelling. You want to learn how I started and you want to know my creative journey. Interesting. You're going to get a lot of stories there. You want to communicate your ideas in a way others understand and find interesting, effective communication. All right. Storytelling for social engineering. This is exceptionally interesting because that is a core part of my presentation today. You would want to take not just the business of storytelling, but also excellence in storytelling. Absolutely. Yeah, I can't take what everyone is saying, but then I think we can just get started from here. Uh, Victor has taken us through who I am, so I don't think I should dwell so much on that. Let's just get straight to, yeah, the next things we have here. First, I hope this person, Proficient01, is on this call because I might just have something for this person. Your name is Abraham, if I'm correct. So if you're on this call, you can just turn off your mic and, or turn on your mic rather, and identify yourself.
Hello, good morning.
Hi. Okay, you're Abraham, right?
Yes, I am Abraham. Odelusi Abraham for economy.
Very well, very well. So I have three gifts for you. They're books. Books
Oh,
I don't give out easily. Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, I saw this about 20 minutes to the class and I was like, oh, really? Okay, I like the excitement, so I should reward that excitement. So I'm going to
thank
be
you so
giving
very
you
much.
three books. Then I'm also going to add one master class about storytelling and how to actually do it right. So the master class is by GSMP, a big agency in the US, and they really, really went deep into the art of storytelling. And
Okay,
just reach out to Victor, the
okay.
head cockpit media is going to reach me, and I'm going to, put the materials through him to you. You understand?
Thank you very
Very
much,
well.
Mr. Popoola. I'm very, very grateful, sir.
Yep. And I'm just Tobi. Leave the Mr. and footballer. Just Tobi. I'm good. Good.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
All right. Yeah. So we are here and we're going to be talking about stories. But before we get into stories, let's talk about the sad truth of creative services. Yeah. We have a lot of people out there saying, "Yeah, I'm a copywriter. I did this, I did that." Basically, let me give you this caveat. I'm not just going to be speaking to copywriting, yeah, in the purpose of doing this. I'm going to be speaking to the entire spectrum of creative services, whether you do graphic designing, whether you do filming and documentary, the entire scope of it as a creative person. That's what I'm going to be speaking to. But of course, based on the fact that I am primarily a copywriter, that will be my focal point. But everything I'm talking about today can be applied into any creative space as long as you are in the creative industry. Do you understand me? All right. There's a very, very dire situation in the creative industry today because a lot of us want to be overly creative while sabotaging results. And we forget that we work for clients who want results. They want to make money, they want to make sales. So, result is the goal, not creativity. But we just want to be overly creative with how we spin words, with how we do our visuals and whatnot. While I'm going to be taking us through everything I have for us today, I want us to bear it in mind that creativity is just one of the vehicles that can drive results. It's not the only vehicle. And more often than not, it is not the right vehicle. So it's not every time you need to employ creativity. So this is what I tell my students and a lot of people that have been in sessions I take. Impact should be your goal. Impact, results. You want to have a lot to do with numbers. Because when you chase impact, creativity will fall in line automatically. There's no way you want to do something impactful that at the end of the day, it won't be creative. But if you chase creativity, if you are trying to be flowery with your execution and whatnot, you can lose impact at the end of the day. Now, everything I'm saying might still be on the high end. I'm going to bring it home with some examples in the course of this discussion. So you actually see very well. The first example I'm going to show you is this. How many of us remember this campaign, this Saka I don't pot? How many of us remember? Let me know the Gen Zs here or the late Gen Zs here who were not in the know of things when this campaign launched. Okay, you do. Great. So the Saka's I don't pot ad, it went viral when we were growing up. Everyone loved it. Yeah, everyone knows the ad. But then, what if I told you that MTN didn't make money from this campaign? This campaign didn't convert for MTN. So it's just like they spent a whole lot of money taking Saka from Etisalat to become an MTN ambassador, did this banger of an ad. And at the end of the day, they didn't get the results they wanted. Why? Because this campaign essentially was flowery. The impact side of things was lost. Yes, everyone loved it, everyone vibed with it. Okay, move from the service provider you're using and put to MTN. A lot of people didn't. So MTN lost on the result side of things. And this is a classic example of how you should put impact first, not creativity. How would they have done it to make MTN get results from this campaign? They will have done it in a way that this is not the only material for the campaign. You have people on the ground actually engineering that move from Airtel, from Etisalat at the time, that is now Nine Mobile, that is not even T2. They rebranded recently. Yeah, get people on the ground to engineer that switch from whatever service provider they're using to MTN. But that was not in the plan for the campaign. They just thought this material alone will have done it for them. But yeah, it didn't. So impact, guys, impact should be at the fore of whatever you're doing as a creative because clients pay you, whether you are hosting your service on Fiverr, on freelancer, wherever, or you're working in an agency or you're working in a company, know that results your is your number one priority. If you look through what Victor was reading about me before now, it's not, oh yeah, Victor, yeah, but you can see the result because that is what I particularly care about. And that is what I also want to pass down to people. So through everything I'm going to talking about today, you are going to see the core markers of what you should look for when you want to do something that will be impactful. Now, since the main thing we're talking about is storytelling, yeah, let's do a very interesting exercise about stories. I want to put it to you that the person you are today, the person I am today, is a result of stories I've heard over time from when I was born to this present moment. I'm going to break it down. When I was born, I knew nothing. My mind was tabula rasa, nothing, nothing at all. Yeah. But while growing up, maybe 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, I hear things, how people around me talk. That is how I picked my mother tongue. That's how I picked my first language because of the stories happening around me at the time. I essentially grew up a Christian because of the stories around me at the time. We read the Bible in my house when I was growing up. Oh, we watched Bible cartoons. I've forgotten the name of that cartoon when we were growing up. Every Sunday, 2 p.m. when we returned from church, I'm going to watch this. I think it's my book or no, Superbook. Superbook. Yeah. Yeah, great. So we watch all of those things growing up. That's essentially how we grew up to be a Christian. If you grew up to be a Muslim, it's still the same thing. The stories around you while you're growing up cultivated that person that you grew to be. And if some way along the line you switch from being a Christian to a Muslim or a Muslim to a Christian, it's because you encountered a story that shook the very essence of stories you've heard before that time. So keep going with me. Stories make us. You are made up of stories. I am made up of stories. You are a narrative. Now, I'll ask you, how is it that you agree with some things and you disagree with some things? You agree with stories that align with the stories that built you. Follow me. If you see something or you hear something and you're like, yeah, that's true. I agree with that point of view. It's because whatever that story is, whatever that person is saying aligns with the stories you've heard over time, with the stories that make you who you are. If you disagree with it, it's because there's a gap. The story contrasts to what you've always heard while you're growing up, with the stories you've interacted with while you're growing up to this point you're in. So if there's a contrast, what should happen is that the person pushing that narrative to you will have to find alignment points with the stories you've always known while you're growing up. You'll find common grounds and use those common grounds to build a very strong debate, a very strong point, a strong case for the story the person is pushing to you. That's essentially what happens in debates. For every one of us that attended UI, I know that there are some UI people on this call. I see them already. We know about the UIL and the E team, especially our Allmark Jaw War. You see people go and they'll be like, I know my opponents will come on this stage and say this, that, but then this is what I have to say, that. What that person has essentially done is to look at the perspective of the story the opponent is coming up with. Pick common grounds and use those grounds as their own arguments in order to defeat whatever the opponent is coming up to say. So if someone wants to change your mind, if someone wants to make you be another person, the person has to find common ground. The person has to find some strong points with the stories you've always known, the stories that made you who you are. Then use those common grounds as the arguments to push the story that they want to push. So I can hear myself like there's a kind of feedback. Okay, maybe we should all just mute. I can see it myself. Okay, great. That's better. Yeah, so I want to actually ensure that we all understand this point I'm making here before I get to the next one. But then just let me know if you clearly understand what I just said about stories making us who we are, and stories being the core factors in any change that will happen in our lives. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat box if you understand that point I made. Or if you want me to reiterate the points, just let me know. Okay, great, 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 great. So let's continue. This is where I would like some of you to unmute and just say a few things. What can you say about Burna Boy? I know everyone knows Burna Boy on this call, so let's not pretend. What can you say about Burna Boy? What do you know about Burna Boy? Just one sentence. Oh, okay. Abib Ibrahim wants me to reiterate. Okay. Uh, pardon me, everyone. I always want people to get this side of the story before I move on because it's very important. So, Ibrahim, this is what I'm saying. You are a result of the stories you've heard from the point you were born to this moment. Let me use a very good example of the school system. Before you started nursery school, you probably didn't know the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Probably didn't know the letters of the alphabet. But when you got to school, the story they push to you is that the numerical system starts from 1 to infinity. In fact, when you get to some point, you get to learn about 0. Oh, there's 0 before 1. That is null to infinity. That is a story they pushed to you. Until today, you have come to believe that the numerical system is 0 to infinity. It's because of the stories you've heard from the point you started schooling. The same thing with the alphabet. From the alphabet, they told you, oh, the language system didn't end with alphabet. There are also words. They start pushing you the story of 2-letter words. on, no, by, by. You understand? From that, they tell you, oh, it's even more than that. 3-letter words. Then you go boy, boy, cup. Then they tell you, okay, at this point, you should also know that it doesn't end there. You can make a sentence. Then they introduce Queen Premier English to you. How many of us remember Queen's Premier? Yeah, the boy goes up. He is up. Am I to go up? You start making sense of all those alphabets that you have been taught. Oh, now you can make a complete meaning with these words. Then you move to 4-letter words, 5-letter words. You keep going. So what you believe today, the person you are today, yeah, is a compilation of all the stories you've heard from the point you were born to the point you are right now. You are made up of stories. And if anybody will change who you are, if anybody will change what you believe, what they have to do is to pick strong points from the stories you've heard over time and use those points as an argument. Use them to sell to you a different reality, a different person of who you should be. That's why I brought the example of a debate. How to essentially win a debate is preempt the points that your opponents will make and use those points to create a strong argument for yourself why people should believe what you want to say. So, Ibrahim, do you understand to that point? Please let me know before I proceed because I don't want to leave anyone behind. All right, great, great. Let's go on. So yeah, I was talking about this. What can you say about Burna? This is where you unmute and tell me just one thing you can say about Burna Boy.
Good morning. My name is Chinwendu.
Hi, good morning. Hi, Chirindu.
Okay,
So
I'd
yeah, what
say
can you
that
say about
Burna
Burna?
Boy is I'd say he's a very bold artist. Yeah.
Bold artist. Great, great. Yeah, next. Who's going? Who's going? Who's going?
Yeah.
All right. All right, Popo.
I can say Burna Boy, his audience well, and that's why anytime that he does anything about it, or
Mm,
he shows you understand what he's doing, who are the recipient of this investment.
Very well then. I can see that Popo is very versed in what you are talking about today. So yeah. Burna Boy understands his audience. The purpose of this is also to help people learn how to understand their audience. So thank you, Popo, for that. You already preempted some things I want to say. Anyway, so let's just move on. The reason why you can say Burna Boy is a bold artist is because of the things you've seen Burna Boy do, the way he tells his story. Now, telling a story, quote and unquote, in this context, does not necessarily mean what Burna Boy says. It also means what Burna Boy does. So you can tell your story in different ways. It's essentially what makes you you, how you carry yourself, how you communicate, how you do what you do. Now, what about Yoruba people? What can you say about Yoruba people? Quick. Anybody, anyone?
Okay.
Okay, Chimando again.
Okay.
So I'd say Yoruba people are huge on respect.
Mm,
They have this love for education and
okay.
partying, Owambe, as we all know.
Great. Thank you, Chiredo, for that. So yeah, I mean, Chiredo has said a lot about Yoruba people. Let me add one. Pepe. Yoruba people love eating pepe. I'm one of them anyway. So yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can say this about Yoruba people because of the stories you've heard about Yoruba people and the stories you've seen Yoruba people play out over time. You've seen them at Owambe. Today is another Saturday. There are several Owambes out there already. I mean, you can see these things happening around you. That is why you have something to say about Yoruba people. We are going somewhere. Now I'm about, let's just keep this. We don't really have time. So that tells you that whether you are intentionally curating your story like a Burna Boy, or you are not intentional about curating your story like Yoruba people will still have something to say about you. Burna Boy has a team that coordinates his PR, his comms, and everything. He's intentionally shaping how you see him. So when you say, sorry, okay, thank you. So when you say Burna Boy is a bold artist, you can easily connect that to why he calls himself Odogu. You can easily connect that to why he calls himself the Shine Bobo of the Nigerian brewery. That's when he had the partnership with Star. You can easily connect that to why he calls himself the African giant. Yes, thank you, Gabriel, for that. It is an intentional process on his side. But for Yoruba people, we just do our thing. But there's a pattern you see with Yoruba people already. Owambe, big on respect. They love eating pepper. It's unintentional, but it's a trend. And that is what people have come to know Yoruba people for. Whether you are intentional about it or you are not intentional about it, people will always have something to say about you. So which one would you pick? Is it to intentionally curate what people say about you, what people see about you, or to just leave it for them and let them make their meaning out of it? Because trust me, it might not be good at the end of the day. Your case might turn to be a portable, for instance. But that's not what we're doing today. So our job as creative people who serve clients that need results, yeah, is to constantly shape brand narrative through series of storytelling. And this is one thing that I see that is missing in a lot of small businesses, especially on Instagram. Now, I don't know if any one of you knows this girl that sells honey on Instagram. Uh, I don't remember her name now, but she has this tagline: "I don't sell it if I don't harvest it, or if I don't harvest it, I don't sell it." Something like that. Yeah. Her name is the name of the brand, so it's an eponymous name. I've forgotten her name. If I remember her name, I'll remember the name of the brand, but she sells honey. But one thing that is very consistent with her is that she tells you that if she does not harvest it, she does not sell it. That is intentional curation of her story. that she only sells original honey. And tell me, when people want to buy honey, what is what they are looking for? Original. And when you go through her Instagram page, she shows you clips of when she's at the farm harvesting the honey, when she's being stung by honey. She's showing you the rigor that she goes through so that you can have original honey. Let me tell you something. Go to Ebano in Ikeja GRA today, the one along that Oduduwa Street. Go to Old English in Ikeja GRA. You will find this lady's honey there. She sells her honey even to the UK. People from UK buy it. Why? Because she's intentional about how she curates her story, what she wants people to think about her brand. But what a lot of us do today, especially on Instagram, like I mentioned, and I'm bringing these examples home so that we can see that it's not just for the big, big brands, even to the small businesses, to the SMEs that we operate, we can also curate stories that will make people resonate with us. She sells to the UK. Why? Because people can see how far she goes to get original honey for them. People can appreciate that effort, that hard work. Now, there might be other people who go through the same rigor to get original honey for their customers. But are they telling the story online? No. Why? They just leave it out there. You just go to their Instagram page. You just see kegs of honey, bottles of honey, no story, nothing. So people just be like, I mean, you know what you know what the story is about Instagram vendors and whatnot. I don't think it will be original. Let me just go for this other girl's one. So you need to intentionally curate your story. And of course, this also leads us to the marketing funnel. I'm not going to go deep into the marketing funnel because this is not the class for it. How you nurture consumers or customers or users or audience through your funnel. So the funnel is essentially based on the fact that nobody buys your products when they first see it. Yeah, there's a process, awareness when they first get to know, consideration when they start thinking, and that product is not bad though. Maybe I'll try it. Maybe I'll try it. Then conversion when they be like, oh, I think I'm going for it. Maybe another friend of theirs told them, oh, I'm using this and it's really good. And they're like, oh, yeah, I've seen it. Oh, that was during the awareness phase. And I was thinking that maybe it's not bad though. That was the consideration phase. And I think since you mentioned it to me, I'm going to buy it. That's the conversion phase. And the last phase is when they eventually make their purchase. But for other funnels, there's also the part of retention where you nurture a consumer that has already bought your product through another process of getting them to be loyalists, brand loyalists. So as a brand loyalist, they can tell more people about what you're selling, whether it's a product or a service, and they can even keep patronizing you. But like I said, this is not the class for it. This is just to show you what storytelling can do for your business. It can help your consumers move seamlessly through this funnel. So the great part about storytelling is that it ends for every brand. Remember when Airtel was saying, oh, data is life, data is life. It has ended. Airtel is not saying data is life anymore. But it's still a truth that data is life. Anyway, they are not just telling that story anymore. But then storytelling is not a one-off. Once a story you are telling ends, you need to start with another story. Because once you stop telling stories about who you are, about what you're building, about a brand you're working on, you leave the meaning to people. And people can just perceive it anyhow they like. And you don't want to take that gamble. And let's take some lessons from Nike. We all know Nike. Nike have been telling just do it, just do it. But then the just do it mantra has gone through different stories. They've done find your greatness. Recently, they did. Sorry, please, you need to mute. Okay, thank you. So recently they did the you can't win, so win. Sorry. Yeah, we're on Nike. You can't win, so win for the Olympics. This is just to tell you that you can have a core story, but that story can keep evolving to meet the needs of consumers at a particular time. The same thing with Apple has always been Think Different, but Think Different has gone through different levels of storytelling over the years. And there's this surreal brand that I'm particularly excited about. I really love them. I want to do marketing like them. Yeah, they are not about the glamorous kind of marketing. And let me just say, they sell cereal, like cereal, like Kellogg's. You get that kind of thing. Yes, that's what they sell. And look at their name, Surreal. That is to tell you that they are very cheeky. From their brand name, you can see the fun in it. Surreal, the brand that sells cereal. You get that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a fun brand. And when you look at the way they even execute their marketing activities, you can see the fun in it. So it tells you that they are a fun brand. That's the story they are telling. Look at the one on the top left. LD cereal that doesn't taste like cardboard. Of course, we know the cereals that taste like cardboard. I can't start mentioning names here, but we all know. Yeah. There's one in this our dear country that starts with N. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Pardon my language. But yeah, anyway, uh they say LD cereal that doesn't taste like cardboard. And the material they are putting on the billboard is literally an arrangement of cardboards. Do you know how much they paid for this billboard? In Nigeria, it will be millions of naira. But still, they want that consistency of fun and they put it there. And of course, it works for them because it's not every day. In fact, since I was born, let me not say it's not every day. Since I was born, I've never seen a billboard that is made of cartons, of cardboards. So once I see it, it catches my attention because it's out of the box and I want to read it. Then I see, oh, LD series that doesn't taste like cardboard. It already starts in my mind. I'm like, oh, these people, their communication is unique. It's fun. I like it. Maybe next time I'm going to a supermarket, I'll go look for sorry. Then look at the one that is at the lower left. You see top on that, not remotely top on debt. This is a jab at Omo, top on debt. And they did the pack of the product here, just like the pack of Omo, the carton. And the one on the right, you have official cereal of Ronaldo. Probably not the Ronaldo you're thinking of. Now, this is a campaign that they use people that have similar names to superstars. They did one for Michael Jordan. They did one for, yes, they did one for Ronaldo, of course. Ronaldo's one is there, and some other popular people. But the people they use in the campaign were not the people we know, but the people that have similar names to them. And it's a very interesting one. So you see how they are very intentional. They protect the core of their story. We are a fun brand. Let people have fun because, I mean, they partially fun. And also, there's the one of Indomie. Indomie has always been the family brand from inception, from way back. Indomie has always been communicating motherly love, family relationship. You get all those kind of things. And they never deviate from it. From when they did their You Like No Other campaign, we can all remember it's me like no other. Where you can see the kid playing drums, the kid that is a doctor, the kid that is a pilot, me like no other. From there, they moved to Show Some Love, which is still on the premise of motherly love and the family. To this old one, to me, to you, it's up to us to make the world a better place. It's still a mother serving the whole community, motherly love. To Mama Do Good, the old one and the new one. I worked on the new one. Yay, super interesting project. But anyway, it's still on the core of motherly love. That is the story Indomie has always been telling, and they will not deviate from it. Why? They are consciously curating their story. They don't want to leave it to the interpretation of just anybody. So, how do you do it? How do you essentially create that story for yourself and run with it and be consistent with it? First, you need to recognize and respect the audience your brand serves. Remember that whatever brand you are working on, whether it's your personal brand, whether it's your small business that you are building, whether it's a product you are selling for a company, whether it's a service you are pushing for a company, that brand exists because there are people to sell to. So the people you're selling to are very important. You cannot do without them. Without them, your business will not exist. So your story should essentially be based on their collective consciousness. What will these people like? What do these people connect to? Whatever they connect to, that should be my story. That should be the story I'm pushing. Second, if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. If I ask you, what can you say about Nike? You have things to say. What can you say about Indomie? You have things to say. What can you say about your own personal brand, your own business? I don't know if you have something exceptional to say that, yeah, this is the one thing people know about my brand. So if you don't shape your narrative, people will shape it for you. That is why on that street that you live, you have one particular place you like going to get things. It's not like there are not other shops that sell the same thing, but because that one woman, or maybe she's very friendly, she's not rude. That is what you know about her. That is the story she has created about herself. What story are you creating about your business? What story are you telling about what you're pushing? So, third, be of interest or be interesting to your audience. Now, let me explain this. To tell a very good story, you need to apply it to yourself first. So, let me start with the social media dilemma. When you go online, what are you looking for? I'll answer it for you. You are looking to distress. You are looking for interesting stuff, things that will make you laugh, things that will make you unwind, or you are looking for things that are of interest to you. Maybe how to do this, how to do that. That means you are looking for fun or you are looking to learn. Now, ask yourself this. Whatever you're doing with your social media, whatever you're doing with the social media of the brand you're handling, the content you have on that platform, are they interesting? Or will they be of interest to the audience you are servicing? Will they learn something from it? Or will they have fun with it? If you are not doing any of these two, then you are not doing it right. Because your story will always be falling flat. That is why you don't have enough engagement. That is why you struggle to get traction. I'll essentially mention something. About 3, 4, 5 months ago, I was working on a brand, Meristem. That's the name, Meristem. And prior to this year, we have just been doing it the mechanic way, posting things like every other person in the same space will do, things about money, pension, investment, the stock market. But we were not making it interesting. So our engagements were very low. We were struggling with it until the time that the client was just like, you know what, you need to get me results. We need numbers. And we sat up. We're like, we are not doing this thing right. How can we do it right? Then we got serious with it. We have to do something people will learn from or what people will have fun with. Then we hit the ground running. I remember our Children's Day activation went everywhere. Live with me that took it up. I remember our Workers' Day one too went everywhere. People were talking about it. People had fun with it. And from there, other content that we have, it is because we were intentional about it. And let me tell you something. See, curating your story is not an easy job to do. So don't be deceived with the way I'm talking about it that, oh, it's going to be easy. It's going to be something that you need to sit, dedicate like 2, 3, 4 hours, maybe from your weekend to intentionally plan. Okay, what do these people enjoy when they go online? What do these people react to? How can I incorporate all these things into the content I'm pushing out there, into the campaign I'm running? So that's the social media dilemma. What you enjoy online, the reasons you go online for, you are not applying it to the things you do when you are putting things online. Why? So put yourself in the shoes of anyone that will interact with whatever story you're putting out there. will you enjoy what you are putting out there if you were the audience? Always think about that. We'll still get to the nitty-gritty of how to really, really create something that will be interesting. We are going there. Number two is adapt or die. This is very simple. Look at what the trend is and try to incorporate it to whatever you're doing. I essentially preach this to people on TikTok a lot. If you're on TikTok, just go to the insights side of TikTok, look at the trending sounds, and do your own video. Use the sound on the trending part of the TikTok insights so that your video will take that sound essentially as it is. Because when you do it that way, the algorithm will push your video the same way. So adapt or die. Follow the how will I put it? Follow the order of the day on whatever platform you're working with. A lot of work because that means you need to be in tune with how people do things on whatever platform you're working with. So it's not simple work. Let me just put it that way. But then you need to be intentional with it. We're still going to the nitty-gritty. I'm trying to rush this. Then my content hack. We'll get to my content hack. That is where you learn how to create interesting things or things that will be of interest to people out there. So remember, stories are not just stories. They are powerful tools to make people do what you need them to do. Remember the debate points I made earlier. If you want to change someone's mind, you need to pick things they resonate with, stories that they've heard from when they are growing up, things that are very particular to them, and use those things to build your own argument. If you leave them unattended, that is stories. If you leave stories unattended, they will grow wild. They can make you or mar you. So you tend to them, you prune them, you shape them. That is speaking to the fact that a particular leg of the story you're telling can end, like Airtel. They don't tell the story of data is life anymore. Now they are telling the story of live limitless. We can remember the one they did with Farouk Koreagba. That's another of the campaign I worked on anyway. Live limitless. So you constantly tend to them, you prune them, you shape them to curate that perception that people will have about what you're building or what you're working on. You are who you are because of the stories that made you. You're a bundle rather of stories. You're a narrative. So treat whatever you are working on the same way. It is a bundle of stories. It is a narrative that you're shaping. That is the business of storytelling. You are trying to get results. You are trying to make people do the most difficult thing, part with money. It's not easy for people to just part with money like that. You need to give them a strong reason to do that. And how you can do that is making them see why through the stories that they agree with, the stories that they align with, the stories that resonate with them. You do things that are interesting to them or that will be of interest to them. So great. This is where we'll get to the nitty-gritty. But before we get to that part, I just want to ask, does anyone have a question before I push on with this? Because this is where we get hands-on. We'll have some exercises, we'll have some videos we're going to watch right on this presentation. So is there any question before I proceed?
Okay, I didn't get the second thing you said after recognize and respect the audience my brand serves. My
Okay.
network operating.
Oh yeah, let's quickly go there. So this is it. Let me start from here again. To curate the best story for yourself, you need to recognize and respect the audience your brand serves. And what that means is that you need to actually pay attention to the audience you're talking to, because without your audience, without people to sell to, your brand will not exist. Right? So you need to look at it. What are these people what am I saying? What interests these people? What makes them tick? What will be of interest to these people? What do they want to learn? What will help them with their day-to-day or with a constraint that they have? Victor was talking about good advertising earlier on. This is where it also falls in. So good advertising is essentially doing marketing, yeah, to help people, to help the world, to help the society, while you're also making sales. Because the essence of being in business is to make money. But good advertising brings in the part of You are helping the world while you are making money. So you are running a campaign that will solve problems while you are also making your money. You are making sales on your end. We'll get there. Don't worry. Don't get bothered about it. There are so many examples, copious examples. Don't worry. We'll get there. You'll see how all of these things work. So first, to tell a great story about yourself, you need to look at it. What are my audience interested about? What do they want to learn? What will help them? So pick all of these things. These things will be the pillars of the story you want to tell, of what you want your brand to be about. Because if you create your story around the things that interest them, that means your brand will be interesting to them because you have built a story around what interests them already. Do you understand that now? So the second point on how to curate a great story for yourself is that if you stand for nothing, you fall for anything. This essentially speaking to the fact that you cannot afford to leave your story unattended. You need to always be telling a story. You can't afford to say, okay, I'll post once in a month. No, it doesn't work that way. People will forget you. Do you know the amount of materials you interact with online every day? Do you know the amount of posts you see every day? Do you want to count it? When you even go out there, every signboard is an ad material, is a promotional material. Do you know the amount of materials you interact with every day? Thousands of them. For you to now say, okay, I'll just post once in a month or once in 2 weeks. No, you're joking. If you don't shape your narrative, people will shape it for you. That is what the second point stands for, consistency. Now, for the third one, be of interest or be interesting to your audience. That's what I sort of mentioned earlier when I was reiterating the first one. And I was speaking to the social media dilemma, which is based on the fact that we don't apply the reasons we go online when we are creating content. The reasons we go online, one, to unwind, two, to learn something, or to find something that will be helpful to us. But when we are creating content, we don't apply these things. It's sort of like we just forget. I will just create content for the sake of creating content, or build campaigns for the sake of building campaigns. When you are doing it, you should always bear in mind, these people, will they find it interesting? Will it be helpful to them? Will it be of interest to them? Put yourself in the shoes of the people that will interact with whatever you are putting out there. And to be honest, this can be anything. It can be an article you're putting on Medium. It can be your Substack write-up. It can be your video on TikTok. It can be your post on LinkedIn. It can be anything and anything at all. So far, it has to do with a brand, maybe your personal brand, who you are, the person you want people to see on LinkedIn, or a small business you are pushing with your handle on Instagram, or a brand you are working for. Maybe you work in an agency. What will interest the audience? What will be of interest to the consumers? That is what you should do. So I said for my content hack, we're still going to get there because I don't want to talk about it now because there's a proper breakdown of it in the subsequent slides. And I was talking to the fact that you should remember that stories are not just stories. They are tools that you can use to make people do what you need them to do. They are tools you can use to change people's behavior. And that's where I referenced the debate part, how you can pick stories from your opponent and launch those stories as an argument for your own point. It's the same way it works in real life. And I'm going to show you examples. We are getting there. I don't want to talk about things I will still talk about, so they remain fresh. So yeah, great. Ngozi, do you understand that side now? Can I proceed? And do we have any other question?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Very well, very well. Okay, quickly, I know some people on this call have already been through this particular class, which is the B side to business of storytelling. So business of storytelling, see it as the theoretical aspect. This is the practical aspects. We are going to do stuff here. But first, let me ask everyone. Just get into the chats and tell me, what do you think pop culture is? Quickly, in 1 minute. Let's get there and just every answer is correct. Trust me. What do you think pop culture is? I'm waiting. Some people are going to check Google. Okay, Ngozi said pop culture is related to music. Correct? Yeah. Let's try not to check Google. Just say what you think it is. What do you think pop culture is? Something related to vibe. Yeah, the way you vibe. Nice. Pop culture, so Chiwendu is the influence that the entertainment industry has on fans, especially relating to music and media. Love it. Profound. Anything people can't stop talking about. Love it. I see you, Kisaya. Culture that pops. Of course. Culture that pops. Pop culture is art related to music. I think it's short for popular culture. I love that. Popular culture. Projected culture from media. Interesting. Money. I see you, my G. So great. We all have interesting answers. And trust me, all our answers are right. Yeah. So some answers cover a part of pop culture, some cover the other part, and some actually speak to the whole spectrum of pop culture. You're going to see what I mean. So what exactly is pop culture? Is it the movies or the music? Is it the entertainment industry in general? Let me just tell you respectfully, Mechono, pop culture is simply the stuff people share and talk about, nothing more. It can be movies, it can be music, it can be entertainment, it can be fashion, it can be lifestyle, it can be whatever someone does on social media. It is what people share, it is what people talk about. So when you look down to the stickers that you use on WhatsApp, that is pop culture. Who remembers that aura boy, that boy on the boat? That phenomenon is pop culture. Now, another way to bring pop culture home, when you go to your Twitter, the trending page, that is pop culture. When you go to your explore page on Instagram, that is pop culture because that shows you that, oh, these are the materials that people are reacting to the most. These are the things that people are talking about the most. These are the posts that relate to you that has the highest number of engagements, the highest number of comments and whatnot. That is pop culture. And again, let me even deep it further. It is not real pop culture if it's not in your mom's WhatsApp group. If that man playing draft at night with touchlight phone does not talk about it, it is not really pop culture. That is why Emiloko is everywhere. Everyone is talking about it. Pop culture. So for the person that said it's music, you're correct. For the person that said it's about the entertainment industry, you're correct. If you say it's culture that pops, it's correct because it's something that pops and everyone is speaking out there. If you say it's popular culture, it's correct because it's the way of life of the large number of people. If you say it's what people talk about, you're correct. Again, pastors talk about Bese. My mom uses comrade stickers when she speaks with me on WhatsApp or texts me on WhatsApp. Everybody knows the miracle anyway. Little kids that are not in school yet, they know about ASU strike. Primary 4 kids that they are still saying, oh, I want to grow up to be a lawyer, a doctor. No concrete future ambition per se. They want to jackpot. That shows you that we easily have pop culture around us. Now, the we have these guys. We cannot remember how Naira Marley came with the Malian movement and almost everybody in the country just followed. That is engineering pop culture properly. Remember when the video came with Ichok, went everywhere. Remember Sabinos? I mean, Sabinos is still there, but that is investor vibes. It's not as prominent as before. But anyway, and we have Lai Hot Boy, Info Leon Info. He released his track. Is it last week or earlier this week? I don't even remember. But yeah. So we can see it. It's all around us. And the truth is, these guys, most times, they created it without even knowing it. Like Davido's Ichok. It's just something he said. They have the wit to create memeable materials. And what do I mean by exactly GNCC anthem, Savvy guy? So what do I mean by memorable materials? I was talking about the stickers we used to talk on, we used to chat on WhatsApp earlier. These are memes, right? So memes are essentially made from moments that go viral online, and we convert them into memes that people just use. And when you use it, people laugh when you use it because they remember that moment. So people are not laughing at the material itself. They are laughing at the pop culture essence of that material, the moment that trended online, that people created the sticker from. That is what people are laughing at because they can take that moment and connect it with what you are talking about in the moment. Interesting. They can connect it to what you're talking about and they can see the sense in it. They can see how funny it is. Then they laugh. So now, how to essentially create something that will be interesting to the people you service is number one, go with the mind of making memes. That is, your content should be something that will almost look like a meme. It should be something that people can make memes out of. But why am I particular about memes? Because memes are the best things after item 7 jollof and turkey, of course. Yeah. Then let me now show you how essentially big brands up there make memorable materials to bring it home for you. Because you're like, does that mean that I should be making stickers with everything? Just wait, I'm going to explain. Let's go. We all remember that Valentine's Day that Gala was trying to make love to Lacasera, and Lacasera was like, was it Lacasera trying to? Hey, sorry guys, 1 second. Yeah, I think it was Lacasera trying to make love to Gala, and Gala was like,
Yeah.
no, we don't do that.
Yeah.
No, we're not interested. Then the year after, MTN told the idea. I was like, we're gonna do this. And they did it. They did a yellow and red balloon. We all remember. This one is like last year or something. Love is in the air. And of course, Ethel responded. Everyone is enjoying and whatnot. Then towards the end of that day, Nine Mobile came into the conversation because nobody talked about Nine Mobile. And Nine Mobile was like, voila for when you get Valentine. And of course, a lot of people came on board too. Because this spoke the mind of every single people out there without a Valentine. And we're just seeing what everybody was doing on Valentine's Day and we're getting angry. You're like, hey, God, I beg, you get that kind of thing. So essentially what they did was do something interesting. That is how they made memorable materials, something that people will talk about. Are we getting the hang of this? So tap into something that people will talk about. That should be the essential core of what you're doing. Will people talk about it? Take that thing that you think people will talk about and infuse your own brand essence in it. How will it connect with my brand? Everyone is talking about love on Valentine's Day. How did MTN connect with it? They took their competition in the market, brought it, and they're like, Alpha, you go like this thing. Yeah, now let's do it. They did it. Ethel responded, we feel the same way too. And it was all love and light at the end of the day. And guess what? We are getting to one place that Victor might jab me for, or Mr. Steve. I'm sorry, sir. So there's this narrative in the advertising industry, and you have to pardon us for it. We see news editors as boring people because they just take whatever is out there and report it the same way. They are not tweaking it. Where's the fun? That kind of thing. Because what we do is try to make things fun, right? But they are not doing that. So, what my challenge to you will be in creating a great story will be why you are doing something that will make a lot of people talk online. Will it make the news? That is, will the most boring people pick it up? Look at the MTN tactic. You can see this screenshot from Business Day. MTN sends Valentine love to Airtel. They picked it up. That is, it's so memorable that they can't avoid talking about it too. So, how do you know what is news editor friendly? That is, how can you do something that the most boring people will pick it up and they'll find it super interesting? How? So, let's break it down. A news editor is looking for interesting news, right? And if you break interesting news, you can say it's something new, like interesting new things, right? And of course, we have a lot of things in the world. There's no new thing under the sun. We've seen everything. But in the midst of seeing everything, in the midst of this avalanche of information out there, how can you still create something new? Follow me very well because this is the part where it gets very technical. This is the part where it starts doing. How do you create something new? I want you to listen to this guy, Roy Sutherland. In another life, he was my grandfather. So I'm still waiting for the day I'm going to meet him and tell him because it's super great. I want all of you guys to go and look for him. You can see his name here. See, Rory Sutherland. To me, let me do a brief overview of who Rory Sutherland is because I am super excited about talking about him. I see him as the most original thinker in the world. That is, there is no time I heard him talk that I don't learn something new. And that is very huge for me because I am a big learner. I learn a lot. I've read a lot. I've seen a lot. So if you can interest me every time you talk, then you must be super smart. Like you have to be super smart. And that is who he is. Every time he talks, he gives business solutions like they are water. Like it's not stressful for him. He just gives business. So he takes a business, talk about it, and you can see different solutions for that same business that you can execute seamlessly, easily, without spending a lot of money. That is who he is. So he's how will I put it? He's a bank of ideas. So just look for him. I can't say any more about him, but just look for him, listen to as many of his videos, or watch as many of his videos, listen to as many of his podcasts you can find on Spotify too. He's super, super intelligent. So let's hear what he has to say about creating new things, which will be the bedrock of what we're going to be creating subsequently.
Sorry, we can't hear the audio.
Oh, sorry. You can't hear the voice. Wow, 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 wow. What are we gonna do? Let me try to see. Okay, I'm going to do it from here. Okay. Just 1 second. And just let me know if you can hear it. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, better now. Better now. We can hear it now.
You can hear it now. Great.
Yeah.
What you have here is an electronic cigarette. It's something that, since it was invented a year or two ago, has given me untold happiness. A little bit of it, I think, is the nicotine, but there's something much bigger than that, which is ever since in the UK they banned smoking in public places, I've never enjoyed a drinks party ever again. And the reason I only worked out just the other day, which is when you go to a drinks party and you stand up and you hold a glass of red wine and you talk endlessly to people, you don't actually want to spend all the time talking. It's really, really tiring. Sometimes you just want to stand there silently, alone with your thoughts. Sometimes you just want to stand in the corner and stare out of the window. Now, the problem is, when you can't smoke, if you stand and stare out of the window on your own, you're an antisocial, friendless idiot. If you stand and stare out of the window on your own with a cigarette, you're a fucking philosopher. So the power of reframing things cannot be overstated. What we have is exactly the same thing, the same activity, but one of them makes you feel great, and the other one, with just a small change of posture, makes you feel terrible.
All right. Please let me know if we all got that before I move on.
Yeah, we did.
Thank you so much. So you can see, we're just changing a little thing, reframing something. You have something new entirely. One, you have a cigarette, you're a philosopher, you look like a philosopher. The other one, you're with a glass of wine staring out of a window, you look like a friendless idiot, according to him. But yeah, you get the story. So we're going to call this the art of reframing. Exactly, Naomi, thank you. It's all about perspective. So how do we shape this perspective? Yeah, it boils down to the art of reframing. But like I mentioned at the beginning of this class, that it's not just, what I'm saying today is not just for writers. So far, you are in the business of creativity. Whatever I'm saying today will apply to you. So the art of reframing things is split into three pillars. One is perspective, two is social metaphor, and three is semiotics. I'm going to break everything down. So let's get to it. Perspective is essentially you taking, okay, let me put it this way. You have a cup, right? If I look at a cup from the front, I'm not seeing the handle. I can say, oh, this cup does not have the handle. If I see it from the side, either of the side, left or right, I can say, oh, it has a handle. If I see it from the back, I can say, maybe the handle is slim, like there's no space in between. It depends on where I see it from. We can all remember this story of the six blind men and the elephants. Who remembers that story? That one of them touches the trunk of the elephant, and the guy was like, "Oh, it looks like a pipe or something." I don't remember all the examples they gave. One touches the ear, and it was like, "Oh, the elephant is like a fan, a big fan." One touches the leg, and was like, "Oh, the elephant is like a large tree." You get all of those. So perspective comes into play when you show people a different side to what they already know. In advertising, we call this looking for an insight. You are looking for an insight. You're looking for something people don't know about, or what they know, but they don't see about what you're dealing with. Let me give you a very, very good example. So let me use my dad. Yeah. My dad is super caring, but it doesn't show it. And I think a lot of people can also relate to this with dads. He's super caring because every time I need something and it's super important, he finds the money. He finds it from anywhere and he ensures that I get it. But whenever he's relating with me, let's say we're in the same space, it just does things that will be like, are you sure you love me? I don't get it. Why are you doing this tough love? That kind of thing. You understand? Yeah. So let's say there is a Father's Day, whatever. Yeah. And I want to talk about my dad. I can decide to talk about my dad from the tough love perspective that I'm not sure this man really loves me. That's one side to him. I can decide to talk about him as, oh, he's super caring. He provides every time. I can talk about that side of him. There are different sides to my dad. So which parts do I want to go with? But when it comes to telling your story, you want to go with the parts that people don't know about. That will be super, super interesting. Let's go back to the Airtel discussion. Data is life. Data is life came from the insight that if you don't have data, it looks like you are not living. It looks like life has ended. But they didn't get that insight until they did this exercise. They got a group of young people. Yeah. This was done by NASAC, actually, one of the creative agencies here in Lagos. So they took a group of young people, put them in a room. In the room, these young people have games, books, food, every interesting thing. But the only thing is they don't have access to the internet, no computer, nothing. You don't have access to the internet. But you have food, you have games, you have everything. But then if you want to leave, you can weekend in that room. Trust me, by the end of Saturday, sorry guys, can you hear me? I want to be sure everyone can see him.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, great.
I can hear you.
By the end of Saturday, yeah, all of them left the room already. They said they can't continue. Why? They feel disconnected to the world. They feel like, oh, the world has ended, even when they had everything. And the same thing can be applicable to us. How do you feel when you don't have data? So it's something that people know normally, but they've not paid attention to it. That's why Ethel came with Data is Life, and they told the story. We can all remember the Gabriel Afolayan couldn't reach anyone. He does not know that there is a house just behind him, and he stayed there for years. He's disconnected from the rest of the world. So what you want to do with perspective is change how people see something. And let me show you candid examples from the things I've worked on in the course of my career. The first one, this is for Bankley. And we got a brief from Bankley. We want people to start saving. And the brief was especially interesting because Bankley was like, we don't want people to essentially save with us. We just want young people to develop the habit of saving generally. Like, let people start saving. So instead of doing a campaign that says, oh, start saving today so that your tomorrow will be bright, start saving. Nah. We went to look for the insights that would drive this. We went to change the perspective. So what did we do? We know that young people are very particular about how their future will turn out. They are scared of the future. They want it to be great. We all are. Then number two, young people crave something, you are going to buy it. You crave shawarma, you are going to buy it. You crave this, you are going to get it. But then all these cravings that we have are actually taken from the resources that we need to build the future we want. So that was our insights. That whenever you buy things you crave, or you eat just out of craving, not out of necessity, not like you are hungry, you are just craving, you are actually eating your future when you do that. That was our insights. Young people eat their future. That is a different perspective to it that they know, but they don't pay attention to it. But when you tell them, they go, that's true. That's true. And now that insight led to this creative material you see on the screen right now. The copy says, think about it. If a pizza is 10,000 naira and a glass window is also 10,000 naira, does it mean you are eating the window of your future house every time you buy pizza? Now, we are not telling you to save, but with this, you already know I need to start saving. And I need to stop splurging on cravings so I can build my future house easily. Next, there's also this in the same campaign. This is for people who have the dream of going on vacation. So the first one is for people who have the dream of, building their own structure. This is for vacation. So do the math. You can actually do the math now and check the price online. You see that the price equates 200 shawarmas at an average of 2,000 naira. Let's say an average shawarma is 2,000 naira. I mean, yeah, we have shawarmas that are of great quality as high as say 10,000 naira, 15,000 naira. But let's just say 2,000. 200 shawarmas equals Ghana vacation. 200 shawarmas, Zanzibar. 500 shawarmas, Kenya. 800 shawarmas, Maldives. 1,000 shawarmas, Morocco vacation. So which of these vacations have you eaten? We are not explicitly telling you, oh yeah, go and save. But these will make you introspect. So you see how we've taken the story. We looked at what will interest them or what they are interested about, what they do already, cravings. And we also looked at, oh, what will be of interest to them? That is what will help them saving for the future they need. And we brought the two of these things together to get our insights. Young people, it's their future. Their future there can be of different contexts. Oh, your future might be okay, you want to build your own house. Your future might be okay, you want to travel out. Your future might be okay, you want to build the next great business like the Flutter Wave or the Paystack. You get all those kind of things. So we took those future, merged it with the cravings, and we had this. That is a very clear example that illustrates everything I've been saying before. How do you do something that will drive impact? People will see this and they will introspect and they will consciously start saving. Even if they don't have the money now. So far, they keep seeing this material. By the time they have the money, they think twice. So this is how you curate your storytelling towards impact. Because trust me, you're in business to make sales. You're not in business for vibes. Like I said, if you chase impact, creativity will follow automatically. But if you chase creativity, impacts can be lost along the line. A very good example of chasing creativity for this particular campaign might be you trying to do a word play for savings. Save now to save your future. A lot of people will see that. It won't move them. They'll just see the word play and they'll be like, oh, okay, interesting, love it, next. But with this, we chased impact and creativity followed automatically. There's no way you do something impactful that it won't be creative. But there are a million ways to do something creative that won't be impactful. Another very great example is the creative art industry. People that paint, people that draw. You see a lot of paintings, I just go, oh, nice, next. It does not make you take an action because it's creativity for creativity's sake. But that is what that industry is for. The industry that we play in, we deal with businesses, we deal with people's lives, we deal with people's profits, we deal with people's money. We are not in the business of creativity for creativity's sake. We're in the business of creativity for impact. So yeah, let's go to the other examples we have. So we have this from every other people, and these examples are to show you that you need to pay very good attention to your audience. Your audience might not be everybody. In fact, 99% of the time, you are not talking to anybody, except you are running a political campaign. You are talking to a specific group of people. So let me start with the one on the top left, the one with the leopard. So this ad is from Tide, and we all know the popular saying. It says, a leopard never loses the spot. But Tide is a detergent brand. Now that brings it home, right? That shows you that no matter how tough the stain is, Tide can help you take it off. You understand? Now, for the one at the lower left, you see an obese tummy on a cone of ice cream. It communicates the message already. You know already. The more you take this, the more liable you are to be obese. This one too, seatbelt saves lives, of course, but then it takes it to the granular level. You see how seatbelt is saving your spinal cord, your cranial cord, and everything. I mean, you can see it. This is taking stories that will be of interest to the people you are talking to. And essentially, we can see the one that has vacancy and we're hiring. Now, for this one, sorry, I meant to mention it before I start talking about this slide. This is no longer about perspective. This is social metaphor. So let me track back a bit. Remember that this one is perspective, showing people a different side to what you're saying. Want to tell people to save, but show them a different side of it. Don't eat your future. Now, for this, social metaphor is practically taking common sayings or common knowledge and applying that common knowledge to what you are doing in a creative way. That is what you see with the tied ad, the leopard losing its spots because tied. That's what you see with the obese tummy on the cone of ice cream. This is the way an ice cream will look to normally, but they superimposed the obese tummy on the shape of the ice cream and it brings the message home. Seatbelt will always, of course, connect, but here it's connecting the spinal cord and the cranial cord. You can see it already. Now, for this is where I want to preach you paying very great attention to your target audience. Not everybody will get these two materials on the far right, but the people that are playing in this sector will understand it. So when you see vacancy and you see Excel as the V, you see Google Drive as the A, you see PowerPoint as the Y, you see Skype as the C, you see Word document as the N. All of these things show that, we're looking for, or there's the vacancy for an admin person. Because it's an admin person that will use all of these tools. Then when you check the one below, you see we are hiring. Looking at it, you see Photoshop. You see After Effects as the NG. You see Illustrator as the HI. You see InDesign too. So when you look at it, you know that, we are looking for a multimedia designer, someone that is versed in Adobe Suites. So when someone that is playing in that sector sees this, they get it. Why? Because it's using the social metaphor of that particular segment. So the audience that it is meant for will understand it, not everybody. Again, your business exists because you service a particular segment of audience, right? You are curating your story by picking things that are interesting or that are of interest to your audience. So your communication should be tailored towards that audience. So you don't say things that they will disconnect with. You say things, you push out materials that they will connect with because you will take from their social space, from the things they know as a collective, from the things they do as a collective. That is what social metaphor is about. Taking things that your audience know as a general knowledge or they do as a general culture. Now, there is this particular I'm going to share this slide so everyone can have access to it. So you can go through all the materials. I like to go through this, but because of time, you can check it later. Let me give you a brief explanation of what this is. So the guy on the right that is dressed in jean and laid back and whatnot is representing Apple, Mac. And the guy on the right that is looking very official and whatnot is representing Windows. So both of them are acting like Apple and Windows system and showing the difference. So at some point, the guy in suits can just hang to show you that Windows system, they hang, while the guy on the right will just talk smoothly. At some point, after hanging, the guy on the right, dressed in suits, will start the conversation from the beginning. And the Apple guy will be like, oh, no, we already passed that side of the conversation. Why are you returning to the beginning? Because when Windows hang, they restart, but Mac doesn't. So it's just to show you how they take social metaphor, the behaviors of these devices that people already know, and using them in a creative way, making human beings embody this behavior. That's another way to use social metaphors in curating the kind of story you want to tell. So like I said, we don't have enough time to go through it. Now, for people that are very visual, let's move to semiotics. Now, semiotics is the art of dealing with symbols, making symbols very meaningful. That's basically what semiotics is about, making symbols meaningful. Now, I'm really pressed for time, but this is part where I would like to ask everybody to unmute and tell me the things you see in this Airbnb logo, but I'll just do it myself.
I can say a love icon.
Okay, great. That is really interesting. You can see a love icon, like it is inversed, like it is upturned, upside down. You can see a love icon. Brilliant. And in the middle of the logo, you can see a location icon too. Can everyone see that? Yeah.
Yes.
Then, great, great. Thank you, Chiwendu. Chiwendu, I think I'm going to give you something. You have been very responsive in this class.
Oh, thank you.
Then, oh yeah, yeah, you're welcome. Then, as a whole, we can see the letter A, which is of course Airbnb. So Airbnb's philosophy is to try to make you feel at home anywhere you are in the world. So you can see that in the location and in the love icon rather. Sorry, I'm a Yoruba boy, the H factor. The in the love icon. So it is making you feel at home anywhere you are in the world. They have essentially made symbols create deep meaning that resonates with the philosophy of the brand. Like I said, this is for people that are visual oriented, like motion designers, graphic designers, and whatnot. And another example is FedEx. If you look at the space between the E and the X, you can see an arrow that is pointing out, showing you that the delivery gets to you straight up. So this is another way to make symbols create strong meaning. Simple, but very, very strong. That is the essence of semiotics. And you apply semiotics when you are developing corporate identities or brand identities, when you're developing the logo. If I tell Victor now to explain what the logo of Cockpit Media means, he's going to tell me something that resonates with it, with the way the icons have come together. There's a story to every identity. In fact, beyond the logo, you can move to the patterns that you use for the brand. You can move to the icons that the brand uses. You can move to how the brand communicates online. Remember Cereal? They are a fun brand. They name themselves Surreal. Through their communication, you can see the consistency of that philosophy. So semiotics is just making symbols. It can be text, it can be visual symbols, anything that is symbolic to your brand, making it have a resonating meaning. That is what semiotics is about. So you remember the second point I was mentioning the other time, that if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. Yeah, and it's talking about consistency. This is where semiotics also comes to play. Consistency of tone, consistency of voice, consistency of visuals, consistency of identity. I told you about the lady online that she says, if I don't harvest it, I don't sell it. And you can see it through her feed on Instagram. You have clips of her in the farm, taking care of the bees, harvesting the honey, creating a new beehive for them when the initial one was destroyed. You get all these things. So you see it, there's that consistency. It builds credibility. It builds believability. People will believe you for the kind of story you're telling, because you don't say A today and say G tomorrow. You are always saying A, because your story is consistent. Imagine Ethel makes a post today and the bulk of that post is yellow, 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 yellow everywhere. What do you think? As MTN hijacked Ethel? That is the essence of consistency. The same thing boils down to the small business you are running. The way you communicate that small business on Instagram. Consistency. Not like you are talking about different things every different time. You have to be consistent. So what is the point of all this story I've been telling from the beginning? Because I've said story like a million times. So this is it. To engineer pop culture. That is, to engineer what people will share and talk about. In other words, to make your brand, to make your business what people will share and talk about, you need to make memorable materials. You need to make interesting things, or things that will be of interest to your consumers, to your audience. need to make memorable materials that will make the news. You need to make memorable materials that the most boring people will pick up through this technique called the art of reframing. That is perspective, showing them a different side to it. Remember the don't eat your future that we employed to sell the act or the culture of saving. Perspective, social metaphor, using things people say. I remember there was a time that Coke was doing a campaign with Zlatan, and they were using Bese. Yes, they were writing Bese on Coke. They were using some other slangs too. So social metaphor. Remember when Delulu and Trululu started trending? A lot of brands started doing content about Delulu, Trululu. Social metaphor. So you see how it trickles down to even the simplest activities that you do in communicating your brand. Because you need to be intentional about the kind of story you are curating for your brand. Then you move to semiotics. That is consistency in your use of icons, symbols. Like I said, symbols can be text and they can be visual. So your consistency in making symbols have resonating meaning. You see these last three legs, if those are the only things that you picked from the story I've been telling all the while, I'm good. Because these three things, yeah, they are the footholds of everything I've been saying from the beginning of this class till this point. Once you have to really go deeply into all of these three, because normally I'm meant to do a deep dive into everything, but the class is limited. I will share this deck. So this book you see on your screen explains the three footholds: perspective, social metaphor, semiotics, explains them really, really well. Because it goes into how you can hack the mind of people to buy whatever service you're selling or product. So you understand how people behave, how people think, and how you can engineer that to drive impact on your side. So when you get the deck, all you just need to do is click the image. You see the link to download it, and you can download the book and you read it. It's super interesting. So yeah, it's the art of neuromarketing, how you can convince consumers to buy whatever you're pushing out there. Yeah. So that's the end of the class, but I want to give you guys some little extra topics. The extra topics are just things I've done over the while to illustrate how you can further bring this home. Yeah, and see that everything I'm saying, it's possible. But like I said, it takes intentional work. You need to sit and be like, okay, what are the things my consumers or my audience, what are the things they are interested about, or what is interesting to them? What are the things that will help them? Why do they go online? What do they want to see? What kind of content do they engage with? You make a list of all these things and you be like, okay, now how can I tell my story? How do I position myself? Look at all the things that are interesting to them. Look at all the things that are of interest to them and define your position. Okay, I'll be a fun person. Okay, I'll be someone that'll be giving them advice online, like Salem King. And of course, Salem King has grown to be who he is. Or no. I'll be creating skits with my content, with my products. Like, I don't know if any of you know this guy, Matt Bailey. Now, Matt Bailey is a fashion influencer, but what he does is just to do skits with different styles. So he styles himself, he acts as two characters, sometimes one, and they have a conversation, and you can just see the different styling elements. It's so cool. Or you be like this other black guy, I've forgotten his name. He will tell you, okay, give me a font and I'll style it. You can give him Times New Roman and you style himself like Times New Roman, like the fashion or the dressing, the outfit he's wearing looks like a Times New Roman or Gothic or whatever font.
Wisdom Kai.
So yeah, thank you, Wisdom Kai. Wisdom Kai. Now, Kirin, do I owe you something? For real, for real. So You look at all these people here, they looked at what is interesting to their audience or what is of interest to their audience. Interesting as in what makes them laugh. Then of interest, what helps them, what are they looking for? And from these two buckets, they have defined their positioning. This is who I will be. This is how I'm going to communicate myself. This is how I'm going to communicate my brand, my product, whatever I'm doing. And even let me give you another example of my mentor that I want every one of you to go and follow. The visual advocate on Instagram is my mentor. He has positioned himself as the creative director of the masses. So he takes a small business and tells that small business how they can creatively improve their operations, from their identity to how they sell to how they talk about themselves online and whatnot. Go and check his Instagram handle. You'll see a lot of that. He has done it with different small businesses because he looked at it. What is of interest to these people? Okay, they want to grow their business. What is interesting to them? Oh, fun content, because they follow the likes of Lai Wasabi and whatnot. So what will I do? I'm the creative director of the masses. I will do fun content that helps them grow their business. That is it. So you need to apply the same thing to how you tell the story of your business, to how you show up online. That sweet spot in the middle, that is it. Yeah, Gabriel has sent the link to the Visual Advocates Instagram handle. You are going to learn a lot more. In fact, more than you have learned from this class on his handle. I'm telling you. So yeah, little extra toppings. Let's quickly go there. So the first one is a video. Let's just enjoy. I don't need to talk so much about it.
Hi guys, thank you for being here today. We're going to run a very quick social experiment for IWD. What we're going to do is a simple demonstration here to reflect that we need more women in tech. So basically, we're going to disable the alphabets H, A, and R and keyboards, and you're going to work without those alphabets. And let's see how it is working without H, A, R. Let's see how it feels working without H.
I found it almost impossible to write my document without the keys H, E, and R.
Without the keys H, E, and R was very infuriating because my worksheet did not make sense.
Working without H, E, and R is quite frustrating and challenging.
The experience of not having the functionality of my H, E, and R key was quite excruciating, which proves why we need to encourage more women into tech.
This experience showed me how important the H, E, and R keys are in our everyday typing.
As it is almost impossible to have a word without her, it's also almost impossible to have a world without her, be it the real world or the tech world.
So I was working with my terminal and I was trying to compile the code I wrote, and without the letters H, E, and R, I wasn't able to do anything productive.
Working without the keys H, E, and R, one word, is in the world of tech, we can't do without her.
I'm a software developer. I can't do without the keys H, E, and R.
I am a data scientist and I can't do without her.
I'm a DevOps engineer and I can't do without H, E, and R.
Alrighty. That is that. So of course I did a lot of stuff on, yeah, thank you, on ALX. I'll just show us some more. So for this, we had the brief to sort of sell ALX courses, like push it for people. I was like, okay, the general thing everyone knows or everyone says, social metaphor again, yeah, is that tech is hard. So why should I go into tech? Tech is hard. So how do we now bring it home to them? We looked at another thing that they say, another social metaphor, which is Sakpa is even harder. So pick your heart, that kind of thing. Or like tech is hard, Sakpa is harder. So everything we're doing through the campaign resonates with tech is hard, Sakpa is harder. So how can you say tech? Programming. Programming is hard. How can you say Sakpa? Begging for 2K. Begging for 2K is harder. Then do hard things. Learn tech skills with ALX again. Then we even did more. Tech is hard. Trekking other option with your baby is harder. Salesforce is hard. Selling your phone to it is harder. So all of these were just going around Lagos the other time. I had this interesting stuff too. This is just to show you how you can bring it down to the most minute things you see around you. So it does not just end on social media. Your business activities in front of, if you have a physical store, in front of your store, it's possible. You can, the story you are telling just has to be consistent across board. Then there was also this one we did for Hyde, International Mechanics Day, World Mechanics Day. Said this is a filthy job. I mean, you can read all of these things and go through all of these things when I share the material. International Friendship Day, because it never takes one to tango. The same thing. Social metaphor. It takes two to tango. Take it on its head. You get that kind of thing. Then this one essentially won us Young Lions. Then and yeah, you can read through all of this after. We don't really have time, but I'm going to share the deck through Victor, and he's going to get it to all of you. For Chiwendu and for Abraham, I have gifts for you. I'm going to read you through Victor too, so that you get what I have for you. So thank you guys. If you have questions, now is the time to ask them before I call it a day.
Right, thank you so much, Toby. Really, really appreciate this. Has been a very, very insightful session rather. So if you have questions, please just raise your hands. I'll pick you up and then you can ask your question. Chima, I can see your hand up. Is there any other person with question? Let's see. Is it just Chidima that has question? All right, Chidima, you can go ahead with your question.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Before that we just had, you were talking about using symbols to describe your brand. Using symbols to describe your brand. For instance, now that is logo, right?
Sorry, is it just me? Or
Chidima, can you be a bit more audible?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's a bit better now. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So you were talking about using symbols to discuss or to identify our brand, right? And for instance, Airbnb logo, we could see a love and then location kind of logo, right? So well, personally, what I felt like I could see from the logo was just them, writing the letter of the letter A. That was actually what I saw, what I felt it was the letter A. So and symbolism in branding also involves using letters, just trying to use the letter, maybe the initials of the brand name to create a logo. Is it also a, should I say, a cool thing to do?
Okay. So if I get your question well, your question is to ask if you business name is a smart decision for your identity. Am I correct?
Sorry, I didn't really hear you. Can you say it again? I didn't really hear you.
Is your question about the fact that using the initials of your business name, like, is it a smart decision for your business identity to use the initials of your business name?
Yes.
Okay, great, great. So yes, it is. And there are different you're trying to create a business identity. Yeah, you can use the initials. You can use an icon that resonates to what your business is about, maybe the product you're selling. For instance, if you're selling honey, you can use a D, for instance. You understand? But then I've remembered the lady's name, Fauzia. Fauzia as in Fauzziyaah. So go on Instagram, search Fauzia's honey. You're going to see the lady I'm talking about. I'm going to drop it in the chat so you can easily search for Fauzia's honey.
Right, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. So it's a great idea if you want to do it. Let me even use this Airbnb as a very good example. So before Airbnb adopted this logo you see on the screen, yeah, they had an initial identity. Yeah, so this one is a revamped identity. So they had to rebrand to get here. The initial one does not have their A or whatnot. Yeah, but this one is simpler than the initial identity they were using before the rebrand happened. So yeah, it's a good one if you want to use the initials, if you want to use something that resonates with the business, maybe like the B to the honey example I gave earlier. If you're studying shoes or making shoes, you can use a shoe or whatnot. Anything you want to do, really. Just ensure that it is simple and it is recognizable. That when people see it, they won't mistake it for another brand. They will see it and they will, it is for your brand, it is for this brand, or they even understand the essence of what your brand is, what you're doing as the brand. When they see, they know that, okay, this is what you're selling. Or they understand that, oh, this is what the brand does. You understand? So that is why semiotics exists, to use symbols to make meaning. All right. Next question.
Okay, Samuel, you have your hand raised up. Please, you can go ahead with your question. Hello, Shay, can you hear me? Samuel, you can go ahead with your question. I can see your hand up.
Yes. Good afternoon. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep, we can.
Okay.
All right. So thank you so much, Tobi, for the lesson so far. So I'm a graphic designer and into brand identity. So I just want to be sure, is it possible for people in my field to be able to do storytelling, or storytelling is just for people that are into, writing? For instance, I don't know if you have graphic design skills, but mainly, yeah, of course, nice. So mainly, most of the things I've seen is that there are particular people that are into maybe writing copies that come up with the text, the copies for what we want to do, with the ideas, and then the graphics designer just has to fall in line and do something that is nice. I also want to be sure, is it possible for people that are in the space of graphic design and branding to really get this storytelling act very well, or is it just for people into writing? For instance, we know that creating designs is for graphic designers, like mainly that's their job, and everything that is related. You don't just bring somebody that is into writing and say come and start doing designs. You get? So I'm just trying to relate that to storytelling. Is it just for copywriters, people writing copies, or as a graphic designer you can also function very well in it? That's the first question. And is it going to be, I don't know, is it even going to be possible? Because I'm thinking of having to create the design. You coming up with the design exactly to match the copy is another work entirely. Now I still have to think about creating the copy itself. Do you get me?
I understand what you're saying. So your
So
question is in okay, continue.
yeah, so the question is it possible for graphic designers to be able to do the art of storytelling well, and how? I know you mentioned some things, but I don't know if you can
Very well.
just thank you.
Yeah. Great. So while you were talking, I dropped some things in the chat. The Visual Advocate on IG, Super Ordinary on YouTube, Timmy Coca on Behance and Pinterest. I think you should know Timmy Coca already before now, but let me just speak to why I dropped the three of them. So one, yes, it is very possible for a graphic designer to do storytelling because there's something called visual storytelling. Now, how do you do visual storytelling? Yeah. I want to assume that you've done a corporate identity before. Yeah. And you can see how there's consistency from the logo to the application of the logo to the patterns that you have generated for that brand to the application of the patterns, then to the icons. Like down, what you have done there is literally storytelling. You've told the story of the brand visually across different applications. How it's going to look on a brochure, on a pamphlet, on a bag, on merch. You've told it across different spaces. So whenever you see this brand show up or their identity or their logo, you know that it's the brand. That is one. Now, two, on how visual storytelling works when it comes to, or maybe working with a writer or whatnot. I always advise this, that copywriters and art directors should not work in silos. They should work together, come up with the idea together. That's why some people on this call know this person I want to mention, Goodness. To date, Goodness is still the best art director I've ever worked with. And the reason is I don't start writing copy until I talk with Goodness most times. So we talk through it together. We come up with the idea together. Okay, this is what we're going to do. So we are coming from the same understanding. And by the time I write my copy and designs, it fits in seamlessly. It looks like the same brain or the same person did the two. Because there is that synergy between us. It's not like I stayed in one place and I wrote the copy, and I stayed in one place and designed and saw the copy and designed. Then there will be some gaps. It won't flow seamlessly. So work together with your writer to ensure that you get your storytelling right and it's super consistent. Like you can see that synergy. Now, talking to the third part of storytelling as a visual person. Now I'm talking to content, like putting content out there. Like this is not just on the job, like, oh, the deliverables you have to churn out. No, this is for you. Let me start with Temi Coca. Now, Temi Coca is a brilliant guy. He has been commissioned to work on different projects for Apple, for Nike. There was this Oscars award that he did. I think it was 2022. I'm not too sure, but I think it's 2022, where the Oscars award for that year had this sort of African vibe to it. It was Temi Coca that designed the entire identity of that Oscars award. He designed the award itself. He designed everything. Because he is an exceptionally great visual storyteller. So I told you to check his Behance and his Pinterest to see the kinds of projects he has worked on for Apple, for Nike. You'll see it. He's also a photographer. Actually, he's not just a visual designer. So what makes Temi Coca different, or what set him apart when he started out, was the fact that he blends photography with visual design. And he does it seamlessly. Like every stroke interacts with the picture that he took. Every shade, every outline. it interacts with the picture. It's not just like, oh, there's a picture and there are icons and there are text and there are lines and shapes and whatnot. No, 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 no. It makes everything it does visually. So when you see this page, you understand what I'm saying. How every visual element interacts with the pictures it takes. That's his own style. You can also adopt the same. You can create your own style from there. So when people see it, they're like, oh, this is this guy. Yeah, that is him. What is Sheyi's style? What story will people say when they see this? Will they say, oh, this is Sheyi? I think it's Sheyi that did this. Because, like I said, whatever you put out there is telling a story. So you either shape that story or you leave it for people to shape it for you. For instance, when MTN launched this campaign, Go Mad, Go Make a Difference, when I saw it, I needed nobody to tell me. I need Ike. Now, Ike is one of my role models. He was the one that got me interested in advertising in the first place. When I saw it, I just knew it was him because that is the way he writes. And the day we got to talking about it, about 3 or 4 days after, I asked him, oh, were you the one that did the Go Mad thing? He was like, yes, now what do I expect? I said, I know already. I needed no one to tell me. Now, speaking to visual advocates, I spoke about it earlier. You can go to his Instagram. You can see how he has curated his own visual style for storytelling. So he superimposes sketches on his videos. So you can the way you can use a graphic pen and whatnot to sort of scribble. Yeah, so he superimposes that on his videos. And you can see that through a lot of his videos. That is his own visual style for his own visual storytelling. Now, Super Ordinary, this guy is a creative director. He is a visual designer. Check his YouTube and see the kind of things he does. He does not have a lot of videos yet because he started about 3 months ago. But it is top quality. The storytelling is 100. Just check these people out, see how they do their visual storytelling, and they will actually help you understand what you can glean from them, what you can take to develop your own visual style. Have I answered the question?
Yes, thank you so much. Really
Very
appreciate
well then. Yep. Do we have any other questions?
All right. I think we don't have any other question. So in the absence of other questions, I'd just like to say thank you so much to Tobi. Like I said earlier on, this has been a very, very insightful session. Things that I didn't even know that I didn't know before. I like you opened my eyes to a lot of things this morning, and I believe it's the same for every participant here this morning as well. Thank you so much, Tobi. We really, really appreciate this. And I just hope that we can get you on maybe another session, maybe in subsequent editions of the Hangar
Oh yeah,
Sessions.
absolutely.
Yeah, so
I'm happy to always do this.
another thing as well. I also want to implore you. So we'll be giving every participant of this particular session of the Hangar Sessions a task to do, like I said earlier on when I was giving the introductory speech. So we'll be grouping everybody in a group of 5, and I would like the prize for that task to be that whichever group wins will get to choose out of all the 4 speakers that we'll be having during this Hangar session. So they get to choose which of our speakers they want to mentor them for about 3 months. It doesn't have to be tedious on your end. I know you are a very busy person. Perhaps they get to talk to you, get to mentor them for like maybe once a week or once a month, based on how available you are to speak with them. So this is just what I want to beg you to help us with. So I know that a lot of people who we got on this edition of the Hangar Sessions are undergraduate students, people still in school, still trying to find their feet in the creative industry, and some of them are fresh graduates and entry-level staff in the creative industry. So they need someone to hold them by the hands and take them through some of the parts that you've already chosen in the industry. So really, really appreciate if you'll be able to make yourself available for them. That's for the particular group that eventually wins. And we would like to make you one of the judges as well for the task we'll be carrying out. So yeah, I'm just doing that on this call and to know
No,
your
no, 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 it's
response.
fine, it's fine. It's all right. So it's actually timely because I'm starting a mentorship session very soon with some of my babies. I call them my babies because they are very particular to me. So I'm starting it very soon. So I can as well just, introduce the people from Hangar Session into the mentorship session too. But yeah, let me warn you, if any of you pick me, mm, it's very intensive. I'm nice on this call. I might not be nice because I'm going to drill you because from what I've said, you should already know that I'm very particular about results, results, results. So if you pick me, know that you are in for a lot of work. You're going to be drilled, and yeah, that's basically what's there to it.
All right. Thank you so much, Toby. Now, for you to get the chance for him to mentor you, you have to put in all the work in the task that will be given to you. I'll be sharing the task later on. But for now, we'll be sharing the recording of this particular session to you much later. So if you missed any particular part of the teaching, you can just go back and listen to it. And also, I'm looking forward to seeing you all doing great things with the task. So let me share my screen so you can see the task, the group task that you'll be asked to do. So we'll be putting up the list of groups in the WhatsApp group. Gucci, head of admin, will be sharing that in the WhatsApp group much later. I hope you can all see my screen.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we
Okay,
can.
so this is the brief. In your groups of 5, choose one popular brand, African or global, that you all love or respect. Your mission is to reimagine this brand as a force for solving a real African problem. It could be unemployment, poor waste management, some of the things that you mentioned when I asked the question earlier on. And using the storytelling techniques that you've learned today, branding insights, design thinking, and of course, we'll get to learn some others in other classes and subsequent classes. Next week, we'll be talking about brand management. So you have to create a mind-blowing mini campaign that makes people believe that this brand is actively part of the solution. So you must use a relatable African story, a true-to-life or fictional character whose journey reflects the problem, the solution, and the impact. So your deliverables, a short video of about 90 seconds and 2 graphics, a campaign poster or social media post that introduces the solution, and a call to action design that inspires people to join, support, or spread the message. So your story must be compelling, and these are the judging criteria: creativity, storytelling. How does it solve the problem? What is the quality of the design, and what impact does it make? Like, would the campaign make people take action? So yes, that's the task that you'll be asked to do. Basically, let me just reiterate, the purpose of this session is to help us learn storytelling techniques. And I would always say that as Africans, we need to learn to start to tell our own stories. We've heard our stories we've seen our stories from the lenses of outsiders, and it's a great thing that people like Tobi are in the industry today, telling African story. But one thing about stories is that if there are no people to pass down those stories will just die natural death, and what you have in subsequent generations may just be lies that have been mixed up. So people like Tobi are here to pass it down to all of us who are participants and who are still in our cradles in the creative industry. So I believe that you found this session very, very insightful, and I'm sure you had so much to take away. Our next class will be coming up next week, Saturday. Also, I think the class will have to move the class forward to about 10 a.m. because our speaker for next week, I think she said she'll be busy on Saturday. She has an engagement around 1 p.m., so she'll have to attend this class earlier. So we will have to move next week's class to 10 a.m. So please take note of that. Next week's class, we'll move it forward to 10 a.m. and the class will be on brand management. It's just to push us further on the things that we've learned today. So before we call it a day here, does anybody have any contribution, anything to ask, any addition before we call it a day?
Okay, trying to hear.
All right.
I just want my contribution is just it's more of an appreciation message to you, Mr. Victor, for organizing this, and then to Mr. Tobi, who is our first tutor. And I want to say that I really learned a lot. He really, really taught very powerful things today. He didn't really go all over the place. He was very direct. The classes were so understandable, and the way he taught it too was magnificent, carrying everybody along, ensuring that everybody had something to live with. So I just want to say thank you to the cockpit team, to all the tutors I will still get to see with each coming Saturday. So thank you so much.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Joanne. I think you were the most engaged today. You didn't miss any part of it. So really,
I had
really
fun.
appreciate.
Thank you.
Really appreciate that. Okay, let me just get 2 people to share with us what they learned, what they picked from today's class, so we know we didn't waste our time. Just 2 people. Nobody wants to speak.
Okay, I can start. I
All
learned
right.
a lot, actually, especially from that pop culture part. Although he said a lot of things before that time about creativity, that I should always choose impact. That if you go for impact, then creativity will follow. So that pop culture part, he was like, he gave us the definition of what pop culture was, and he gave us practical steps to make your works attractive by making it a memeable material that is something people will always talk about, and give us different. One part I loved the most was that it was not just teaching; it was giving us practical illustrations. Like, okay, these are the people that do these things, and this is how they've generated results, and it made the teaching relatable. Yeah, so that's what I learned.
Thank you so much, Isaiah. Yes, that's a very important key point there to take away. That yes, whatever it is that you're doing, make it relatable, make it, like you said, make it memeable. I decided to do a research on the impact of this. I know most of you must have heard of this. Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday. I'm sure you've seen it on TikTok and all over the place. I decided to do a research on how it has impacted sales for Jet2 during the week. And I was surprised to see that that particular ad was released in 2022. And the ad didn't go viral until 2025. But when you check all over TikTok, there are millions and millions of people who have used that ad for different content. So like you said, if your content is not memeable, if it's not reusable, then you need to go and recheck your content. And I think that's a very, very important point from I picked from the things that he said today as well. Thank you so much, Isaiah. Is there any other person?
All right, sir. Thank you so much. My name is Abu. I want to appreciate you for. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, but you're sounding a little bit muffled.
All right. All right. So thank you so much for organizing this program, and I want to appreciate you and our guest as well. So one thing I really take serious in this meeting is that being intentional is very, very essential whenever we are creating our stories. And he also made mention of storytelling is not a one-off thing. It has to be consistent. You have to bring in story every time, every moment. And I think that is Although I have a lot of jottings, but that is what I just want to say. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Abib. Storytelling is important. If you're writing, if you're doing graphics, if you're shooting a video, if you are designing a logo, if you are designing your brand identity elements, whatever it is that you're doing, try to tell a story, a relatable story. Thank you so much, Ibrahim. Okay, any other contribution, any other person who wants to share what they learned before we wrap up?
Yeah, I want to. Yeah, it's still trend. So I think that what
All right.
intrigued or fascinated me the most was when he talked about reframing and especially social metaphor and semiotics. So now I know that every story does not just come about. There are things you have to reason that like for you to say something, for something to connect to somebody, you need to know what will I say, what has happened to this person, what has this person experienced to get this. And also for semiotics, the fact that you have to like it's quite specific. You are talking to like a particular set of people in semiotics, probably people with corporate look identities and brands. So I that's the two places that I think I learned the most, knowing that you can use pictures to tell a story. So now when I see an image, I just start thinking that okay, let me know what story this logo is trying to tell. So I think I'm now conscious of that logos or brand logos tell a story.
Yes, brand logos tell a story, semiotics tell stories, and social metaphors, taking common things and infusing them into whatever it is that, whatever message it is that you're trying to pass out across there. So thank you so much, Chiwendi, once again. Samuel says, I'm commending Mr. Tobi's voice and diction. Nice. Okay, all right. I think that'll be all from today's session. Once again, thank you so much, Tobi, for this insightful session. We really, really appreciate it. Pray that God will bless you richly for your time with us today. Thank you so much, everyone who joined, and we look forward to seeing you again next week, Saturday at 10 a.m. Do enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.